to find the microphone. But for now, I guess I have to log in here so I can change the description of this wonderful event, right? Yeah, let's do that. No, it's not morning. It's almost 6 o'clock in the afternoon, um, Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, still Daylight Time. Another month before we end up with Standard Time. So let's see if we can edit this, and oh, I guess I have to sign in, and then let's talk about what we're trying to accomplish here. Arizona Jake, Susanna Morjean, welcome to my humble little session here. What's my password? That's always a mystery. Let me just log into this thing here so I can manage the chat. And then, yeah, let's go live there. That's good. That's turned off. Let's edit the video and change my description. So the description is Salem Cook live photo shoot for book part 2. Photo shoot, yes, that's good. Let's change the thumbnail here. I don't know if I can find the one that I had created here. Let's find a good thumbnail. Where's a good thumbnail? There's a good thumbnail. Let's use that one. Why not? Very nice. And let's save that. And I don't have the microphone on yet. I have to deal with that. And internet's slow today, so hopefully we're not going to run into issues with the stream disappearing on us. So, hey Susanna, hey Jake, wanted to see you guys. So both of you have gone live, if you can use that word, while sleeping. It's interesting. Jake, Susanna. Jake, Susanna. Both worth watching. So what I'm going to do today, in addition to talking about the weather and all that sort of stuff, is last week we took some pictures of the stove area for this cookbook that hopefully will one day materialize, and just simply to set the scene a little bit in the introduction to what the cookbook is going to be all about. And today what we're going to do is we're in pictures of the saloon table. Saloon is the main living area on the boat, with nothing on it and with just an empty plate. And that will become the background for photos of food. I'm going to just go find the microphone. So I'm going to be walking around a little bit here while we're trying to do this. I wonder where I left that microphone. It's probably in this bag right here. Where is it? There it is. Oh, and there's a fork for the table as well. The so it's probably cheating a little bit to create images that are going to become parts of Photoshop composites, but it's a Photoshop world, and reality doesn't always look good in pictures. So let's plug this microphone into the camera, this little Godox microphone here. That will, Brendan of Palm Beach, thank you for coming aboard. This will allow me to not be too close to the phone and still talk a little bit. Okay, that's it has paired with the thing. Am I still muted? I'll have to check myself. Let's just get the microphone says it's on. So if it's not on, then it's the technology is failing us. Let's turn this on and see if I can hear myself. I can hear myself, so I'm happy. Why is this computer giving me grief here? It wants to restart because of updates. I upgraded this laptop to Windows 10, 11, because it wanted to, and it was free. And at one point, things aren't going to work with Windows 10 anymore. So I figured I'd click OK. And Windows 11 is the same as Windows 10 to a large extent. There's not a lot of difference yet, as far as I can tell. There's a bit more Microsoft advertising showing up in the start menu and on the screen, and when I open up Microsoft Edge. But again, it's that world. Apparently, I just read that Jeep, Stellantis, Jeep in particular, because they are concerned that they are not selling enough cars because people are starting to think that they're not a decent vehicle to drive for their intended purpose. Now they're going to give you ads on the entertainment thing in between whatever it is they're giving you there. So you're going to get an ad saying, do you like your Jeep yet? But there's probably no place to click and say, no, I hate these ads, go away. In any case, so Windows 11 it seems to work. It picked up the Wi-Fi in the marina here without any grief. Let me just check something here. If I click on that, then I'm going to see the Samin, how are you? Welcome aboard. Hopefully we're not going to have the chat challenges we had in the last editing video. Cheap and reliable, yeah. I've been there. I guess my longest running car ever was a Camaro, 1984 Camaro. I think I put 250,000 kilometers. Okay, so that's only what, 180,000 miles on it. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good car. I think that's been the longest. I had an Equinox. That was also a good car. It got a lot of miles. The daily driving Southern Ontario for photography projects from one end to the other, and I think it got up to 250,000 kilometers. So I'm quite happy with that. I've had my share of Chryslers. I had a Dodge Charger with a big V8 in the days when big V8s were the thing. Its biggest advantage was it went fast as hell. Had a Chrysler Cordoba, had a Plymouth Duster, had some crappy Fords, I guess. I had a Ford station wagon, had a Pinto, the exploding Pinto. Got rid of that very quickly. So, yeah, cheap and reliable. Anyway, so what are we trying to do here for starters? Get this photography out of the way. What I did last time was it was getting too dark. It was 7:30 when we took the pictures, and I've looked at them, and there wasn't quite enough light. So this is why I'm starting a little bit early today. We're going to use to take those pictures. This is a 24-to-105 lens. A little bit too long to use in in the boat. So we're going to put on a 17-to-40 wide angle that will get us a better coverage, and this is going to get cropped anyway. So let's see, where is the top of this thing here? Let's put this together. And what are we going to do? Hey, Brandon. Well, thank you anyway. We're always appreciated. We'll check you out later. I did promise I'd check out a few people, and I did not. I apologize. Can't remember who it was. There's two people I had promised I would follow up on in the last editing video, and I didn't. So let's remember to do that tomorrow. Anyway, so we're going to put this camera on the tripod. Now, it's a wimpy tripod here on the boat because the good tripod is way too heavy to carry around. So it's this cheap little, well, it's still a Manfrotto, so it's not bad. But it's Chinese Manfrotto, not Italian Manfrotto. So it's not really the same anymore. And let's put the tripod plate on this camera. The balance is a little bit wrong too for this this camera, and the floor of the boat. All the boards are loose because they're designed to be picked up to check for leaks and other stuff. So every time you walk around, the camera moves. So that didn't help last time I tried to do this. So let's move this. I'm going to move the camera. I think I'm actually going to. No, not yet. I was going to say I was going to move the camera outside because I got to clean up this table a little bit more. But I think we're going to be okay. And we're going to move this to the other angle so that the camera sees what I'm trying to take pictures of here. So that's sort of the angle that we're going to be at. We've got a roll of paper towel there that we don't really need to focus in on that too much. The bottle of water. Okay, so move the computer out of the way. Potato hash. That's interesting. I did corned beef hash as a video a long time ago, and corned beef was on sale at one of the grocery stores here this week for $2.29 a can Canadian. So that's a good deal. So let's take this. Let's see if I want to make sure that the camera, the live camera sees what we're doing here. Let's take this around, connect this to here, tighten this up, and let's see what we're doing. I said, hey, that's good. Yes, this is kind of a wimpy camera for a wimpy tripod for a camera this heavy. Not recommended. Okay, so part of the um, so yes, we've got some poor quality Wi-Fi here today. So let's see how bad this is going to be. Um, I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue. The picture on my computer is pretty awful now. I don't know if it's because of the camera sending a poor signal or the computer receiving a poor signal. Okay, so now we've got the camera and it's aimed at the table. I'm going to put up the leaf because it's a little bit bigger. And let's see what we've got here. And let's zoom out a little bit. It's easier to crop later, than to, okay, let's change this to be aperture priority. F22, oh my god, how slow is this going to be? There's not very much light in here. So that's an issue, 2 seconds. There's not much I can do about it. We don't need F22. Let's go F16. Is more than enough for a wide angle lens. And let's go ISO 1000. And we're down to half a second to expose. So that's not bad. That's not going to jiggle too much in that time. Okay, so what I've got now is just the whole table. Yeah, we can't see what the camera sees in here, so you have to trust me on that. Now, the downside is this is a 30-degree angle, and I really want 45 degrees. So let's go up a bit higher so that we're at 45-degree angles. Good food photography is at a 45-degree angle. Still not 45, that's probably 35, but that's close enough. So let's take that shot there. No, that's not where I want. Let's turn it sideways. And let's go here. And let's change the shutter to be a 2-second delay so that I'm not jiggling it. And I'm not going to stand on that piece of the flooring. So let's click that and see what the... Okay, so that's a nice angle there. Now I'm going to... this placemat. It needs a little bit of uncurling. Okay, so the camera quality is back, so the Wi-Fi must be happy. Let's put that there. Is that a good angle? That's good. We'll take, let's move this. A couple props. Let's move that. Okay, so now, and get my feet off of that part of the floor. And we've got this shot of the table with the placemat. So that one, I can use that to put a piece of food on it. Let's go a piece of greenery. I think I have my foot on that part of the floor, so let's do that again. Okay, and we're going to a fork. Let's put the fork there. Okay, now do we have, used to be some glasses here, and I took them home to wash them, and I don't know if I brought them back. So let's see where my glasses are. There they are, okay. And we're going to put some pink lemonade in that glass. going to drink it later on. Is this a clean glass? They were washed, so it should be clean. Okay, so let's, we're going to pour ourselves a respectable amount of lemonade. And we're going to put that here. Do I like the look of that? I like the look of that. Oh, let's get our feet off that flooring. Okay, but so now let's get a lot closer. And what I want to do is I'm going to get lower down. So the angle is now going to be about 10 degrees. And if you put food on there, then you're going to see more of the texture of the side of the food. So let's put this fork in more of a straight line. So it's more of a straight line on the image. And let's find a napkin. You're cooking breakfast, Jake. You're in Arizona. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. Let's see if we can find any napkins. Plate, napkins. These are kind of boring napkins, but I guess they're going to have to do. Used to be some interesting boat napkins here. They have all gone astray. Placemats, placemats. Bamboo. Okay, so all of the interesting napkins have gone astray. So we're going to use one of these super boring ones. You know what? We're going to put a knife here too. Is this knife clean? Because everything is broken, what we're going to do is we're going to take this napkin and fold it inside out. So we've got a bit more of a white color. Guess we could use paper towels as well, right? And let's fold it 3 ways. Not fold it 2 ways, that's enough. Okay. Food photography 1. Knife should be facing in. Okay, so the knife has some logos on it. We'll have to Photoshop it. Okay, so now if we've got a plate here, this is where the food would go. What does that look like? This is crooked. It's crooked. So this is where the food goes. So let's take that off. And let's not step on this floor. And let's take this shot. I like that. I like that. I like that. The knife is a little bit wrong, the wrong angle. Let's turn that just a little bit more. Yeah, so we can still see that in the live camera as well. Let's not step. Let's get that shot. Okay, so now this is the 10-degree angle. So now we're going to start taking this apart and remove the knife. Have just a fork. Remove the knife and fork. The pictures with the logo showing, and they were not happy with that logo. So let's see. Let's take another shot. That's 16, so that's going to be good in terms of the angle. Hey, Carolina, thank you for coming aboard. I think I've seen you before. Welcome aboard. I don't understand what you're saying, but give me the choice to translate the language. No, I don't have the translator. Yeah, there's no translate on this Firefox. I should turn it on because I do get some languages I don't understand. And nevertheless, thanks for coming aboard. Okay, so did I take a picture? Let's take it one more time. Anyway, we got sidetracked here. Let's just change the point of the focus to the front of that placemat, so it'll line up nicely with a plate of food. And let's remove the mat altogether. And so we've got that. Now, what I'll do, I'm going to go through the whole cycle again, and I'm going to lower the camera so that level with the table. And the reason I want to do that is I want to see the inside of the in the background. Now the picture is just table. Okay, let's straighten up the camera a bit. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to go down to about F8 because I want the background to be really out of focus. Okay, so if I take that picture now, what does it, I look at the background. Is the background pretty well out of focus? No, let's go back to F5.6. You know what? I'm going to actually cheat here. Let's go to, this camera goes down to F4, this lens. And let's take this at F4. And then it'll simply be a background that we can bring in later on. Now, is this a good angle? Yeah, so this is a good angle. This is about 5 degrees. And that's putting back the other thing. So there's our placemat. And I'm going to change the f-stop to, let's go to f8 at this angle. Now let's go to f11. So that's, let's move that over a little bit. And there we are. So let's take that shot. Those most of the cushions aren't lined up properly, but I think they're probably going to look better being slightly disheveled than being 100% lined up. Hey, Carolina, yeah, thanks. As I say, I can't translate well on the fly, but you're saying if anybody can translate well, the Russian, Ukrainian, something from that part of the world, that would be fantastic. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's start putting back our green plant. Our fork all by itself. The problem with the wide angle lens is that angles look weird on things. So that fork is straight in the picture, but it's really at a weird angle on the table itself. Let's put back the napkin. Okay, it's too far over. Let's move it to the side a little bit. And let's put the napkin this way so we don't see weird colors on the end. Yeah, that's still a good angle. And let's bring back the knife. And there we are. So that's really what I was hoping to accomplish with some of these angles. Now, I don't know what else I really wanted to do. Oh, I forgot. Let's bring this glass of drink. Oh, I almost poured the glass onto the computer. Let's bring the glass of drink back. Let that stop shaking. I mean, it's going to be a little bit out of focus anyway. But, yeah, I'm curious why this computer doesn't do translations. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if this one will do the translation. That's weird. No, it doesn't give me translate. No, it doesn't give me translate. Oh, well. Got to translate on my other computer, so. Let's, okay, so did I get that glass? I don't remember if I got the glass. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one more shot with nothing except the glass, right? So let's get rid of all of this stuff. And leave just the that's at f11. So let's do it again at f22. So we got the glass in focus. Okay, it's gotten brighter because it was 0.6 of a second. So I guess the sun's moving around outside. Now, what else do we want to do with this particular setup? Let's move the glass. We'll have a sip of that later on with our Henry bar. Let's take this out of the way, and let's put a dish that would have food on it. And I'm doing that because I want the angle of the a representative angle of what the food has to be angled at to look good. And there is a plate as well. So that has accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. I wanted to take shots of outside as well, but it's a bit too sunny. And the sun is creating strange shadows that are going to give me grief. Guess my neighbor's not going sailing today. The maybe we'll do a couple of that. I tried some last year, and I wasn't happy with any of the angles that I ended up with for the outside table shots. So they're really background shots for compositing in Photoshop shots. Okay, so now that is what we wanted to do here. I'm going to think of how we want to do this outside. I think if we wait for about half an hour, the sun will be behind some clouds, and that will create a a nice even color. I mean, it's nice when the sun's shining and reflecting off things, but I guess we should have a flag on the boat as well. Yeah, so when the sun is behind the clouds, we'll end up with a nice even light that doesn't create those really harsh shadows that are really hard to replicate when you're trying to composite in food. Hey, Go With The Flow, thank you for coming aboard. So we're just taking some photos of the inside of the boat table at an angle that I can use them with various dishes for this cookbook that I keep talking about. Hopefully that will have a chance of coming to fruition at one point. I'm going to put the camera outside and we'll see what's going on outside. But I'm just going to take it and let's take a look at some of these images that the camera that I got of the does this work? I'm not sure that this works. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch the front camera to the back. And that's going to make it a little bit easier to... okay, so and let's just turn this around a little bit so we've got the camera and the reality. So this is what this is all about. So there's one plates, with a plate, with food, without food, with a little green thing. So the angle is good. I really thought the wider angle would pick up even more of the boat. It's not, but I'm not unhappy with that. So let's take this guy outside and we'll move this outside, and that will give us the setting. I'm going to possibly even wash the deck a little bit. Although with Photoshop I can easily take out little bits of spider crud that happens to be on the deck. So let's let that sit. Shoot, this is gotta plug the mouse into this computer. Yeah, it's a nice evening day, and let's just bring this down here. There we are. Now we can see what's going on. I can watch the shadows same time. Okay, so let's put this out of the way. Knife and fork, fake greenery, placemat. Let's turn off this camera. Let's walk this a little bit. And get some water. I don't know, maybe I don't need to wash. I think I will, let's just put the tables out and see what the angle is for that camera to get some of those shots. So again, we're going to do a little bit more Photoshop Oops, suddenly the internet went a little bit fuzzy. The quality of the video has dropped. So it's a lot of people on the internet here. And quality is back. And I guess as more people come home from work and fire up their computers for their work from home or for their evening entertainment, then it sucks out some of the power. So let's see what's somebody saying here. And I, okay, yeah. The let's see. Okay, so I'm looking for how much I'm going to clean this back deck, if at all. Let me just have a sip of this pink lemonade. Good stuff. We'll bring the camera up, the other camera, and see what we're doing here. Yeah, so the sun is still too bright. Let's just move that there so it doesn't fall over. Yeah, this camera is way too big for this tripod. It's all wobbly. And let's bring out the computer and chat outside for a while. And it's getting dark so soon. I started earlier with the intention of then finishing earlier because it's kind of neat in the dark watching the lights come up, but it loses a lot of its excitement as well. So let's see how much dirt we've got on this boat here. And the perpetual, are we going to have any ducks or swans today? I don't see any ducks and swans anywhere in sight. It's chilly. Computer says, so the weather disappeared. When I upgraded to Windows 11, I don't get the weather anymore. Used to be, I'd get the weather on the bottom of the screen. I care that much that I want to network, but that does remind me. Because of course it's different, right? Where is the other phone? It's a mystery. Mystery wrapped up in an enigma. There you are, other phone. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, there's no wind at all today. I just saw a powerboat go out for the evening. The flags are moving tiny bit, but nothing to get excited about. I'm hoping that we'll get a couple more modest days. We had really windy 40-mile-an-hour winds on the weekend. Either the extension of some hurricane or whatever was was causing all of that. And that didn't last all that long. Interesting. Last time we were here, somebody was towing in a boat, and I got into a conversation about Boat US with somebody whose name I forget now. It looks like somebody else is getting towed in again. And I wanted to talk to them to see who they were using. We don't have Boat US here. We have a new guy just called Towboat. We have a guy called, see, so let's just turn the camera and side, see if we can watch all this excitement happening over here. Yeah, somebody's getting towed in again. I wonder if it's the same guy. No, maybe it's not getting a tow. Maybe it's not a tow. Looks like a tow to me. Yeah, we can just see him in the water in the distance. No, that's not a tow. Can't tell for sure. But I was interested in who was offering tows in the area, because it's always an issue if you're out on the water and you things go wrong, or running out of gas you can manage because just buy gas, but other things and problems or crap fouling the propeller, any of those can cause weird things. Yeah, the day of the big wind, it wasn't that windy at home, and I'm about 10 miles away from here. But I was going to come down and add double the lines and put on some spring lines, and I ended up limping out because I was editing some recipe of some other kind, and so that boat is moved away. I'm just going to leave this phone going on the side here, so I can keep track of the chat a little bit and see what it looks like on a phone. And I'm going to turn this back just a hair so that we're not just watching our neighbor. Let's go here. Let's go to about this angle. So we're basically watching this boat, and there happen to be some other boats in the background. So I do want to be respectful of people's privacy. Anyway, yeah, so the wind, it ended up doing no damage of any kind. I was down on the beach. I did go to the beach afterwards. There was no boats out because it was too windy. And people were avoiding that to some extent. So that sun has got another few minutes before it's low enough that we've eliminated the shadows here, and before we end up with more photography in the cockpit. And it's always possible, I suppose, just to come down on a cloudy day, but then it's too depressing to come down on a cloudy day, so I don't really want to do that. In terms of taking some pictures, so the just back to talking about food and video. So the cheeseburger mac and cheese ended up turning out pretty good. Yesterday we worked on editing liver and tomato, which was less impressive. It was based on an Italian recipe with that's supposed to have wine, and I didn't want to use wine. because not 100% sure, but I'm staying away from recipes that call for wine. And so another version of this Italian recipe called for lemon juice in with the liver to add a little bit of a tang to it. And that was a little bit boring. Now, when they were boring, I like my liver and onions, just liver and onions with bread. And adding tomatoes and lemon juice made them different, but not in a gastronomically exciting way. So we're going to post it because I think it does provide a slightly different approach to liver and onions. You know, when you look at all the ways you can make liver and onions on the internet, they're all liver and onions. And I do like liver and onions. And so even though it was a little bit on the underwhelming side, I had it for lunch and can say with a straight face, because the captain at the end of the video says with a straight face that it did taste good. It did taste good. It was just not as exciting as I expected when I started reading about Italian versions of liver and onions. The next recipe is going to be back to a one-pot thing that got some notoriety with Meghan Markle when she did it, but apparently it's a Martha Stewart recipe that basically everything goes in the same pot. You cook your spaghetti in the pot, and then you add all the other stuff, and you just keep on adding until it's done. So when we're talking about one-pot cooking, we're talking about boat cooking or RV, it's a perfect solution to not having too many pots. And there's a plane flying overhead, so we'll wait for that to go away, and then it'll be quiet again. So it is pretty quiet. We're down earlier than usual for this, and I expected more boat music, and I expected more boat motor sound. There's the guy 2 boats over was running his inboard for a while, and it makes a weird hissing sound. But that stopped before we started this. Neighbor on the other side had some engine problems. He solved them. A good shot of quick start solves a lot of problems. Quick start is like the bacon of engines. You squirt some in, and it fires up. So here we have a bunch of seagulls on the dock. So we rarely see seagulls on the dock, and still have to do the seagulls eating my food off the barbecue before it gets too cold for the seagulls and for the barbecue. A while ago I talked about a friend of mine that's part of this cookbook project, who does PR for artists and writers, a lot of artists, a few musicians, songwriters in Canada. He's the director of most of the videos on Canada Art Channel, which is linked on the top of my page, which is all my video from a few years ago. And he fell while on vacation on a glacier in Iceland. So you ask yourself, why are you going to a glacier in Iceland? But people do that. And he fell, and he thinks he may have passed out. And if he fell chest down, then that put a lot of pressure on his heart, apparently. So he didn't want to deal with the medical establishment there. So he got himself on a plane and got out of there.
to deal with the Canadian healthcare system, which, if nothing else, is at no cost. And he ended up with a stroke, and he attributes that to some extent to heart damage. And he was, I saw him in the hospital a couple of times, and he seemed to be okay. And then he went radio silent for a month, and I thought he might have succumbed to this. And then suddenly he showed up on Facebook, and he showed up on email as well. And he seems to be okay. So we'll have a pea meal bacon sandwich. We would meet every Saturday, almost every Saturday throughout the year at the farmers market in Toronto. That had this great pea meal bacon sandwich, and big bun, big slice of meat, a variety of toppings, and it was only $8. Whereas the pea meal sandwich from the next booth over was $12. So we're going to have a pea meal bacon sandwich on Saturday, and we'll see how he is and see what his thoughts are on proceeding with this cookbook project and finding a publisher. And in Canada, there is a lot of funding for the future. More of the sky. A lot of funding for projects of that nature, and he's in contact with the people that do that. So that's important, because if somebody else will pay for the production, it's a good thing. Otherwise, it'll be an Amazon project. We'll see how that rolls out. But it was good news that he popped up on Facebook, and then he Zodiac heading out into the water for the evening, and then he popped up an email. So it's. But you know, a stroke is a difficult thing to deal with. We're about the same age, and those things happen. So let's see on Friday what his story is. But that'll give me a bit of input as to how to start assembling stuff for a book. And then it'll be advertised here first. So the sun is still not where I want it to be. Let's just open this table. So this side, the sun is okay, and I can probably get a good angle onto this table. There's that airplane again. So I'll have to see how the propeller airplane leaving the Toronto Island Airport. There's bits of dust on here, but we don't totally care, because if it's going to be Photoshop, then the Photoshop can fix that. I think we should probably just clean the edges of the table a little bit, because they do look kind of gross. You know, things turn green on the water if they're unattended for a long period of time. And what we'll do is we'll put the camera on the cabin top to see how we can. Somebody playing music here, so I hope that music's not going to get picked up. get our good friends at YouTube upset. I don't know if they're leaving or if they're. I think it's the boat that's leaving. So let's assume that they're going to go away. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go and get a cloth and let's clean the edge of this table. I guess not a cloth, a paper towel is good enough. Let's have a sip of this pink lemonade. Don't want to waste it. Okay, so where are we going to put this? Yeah, that was just a boat that's leaving. So we'll just keep the microphone covered a little bit until they're out of sound range. And okay, so they're effectively gone. Let's put the computer over here. Let's get some cleaning supplies. Oh, I get the sun right in my eye. Let's see where the cleaning supplies are. Where did that go? Okay, that's not that. That's not it. That's not it. Where did the cleaning supplies go? Did I put them on the other side? Okay. What did I do with that bottle of cleaner? Let's close that down. Cleaner, cleaner, where art thou cleaner? Here and here. That's where cleaning supplies are supposed to be. Not there. Oh, here they are. Bathroom sink. I guess cleaning supplies can be in a bathroom sink. Okay, let's move the camera so that we can watch all of this fun happening here. Let's just. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to put this about here. We're going to flip the camera around so this sees the back of the boat. There we are. And if I'm not in it, what do we see? Knocking everything over. That's not good for anything. Okay. Let's get rid of this rope. There you go. Okay, now let's clean this this table. So it's almost like you got to detail this thing to keep the green stuff that accumulates from from growing. Okay, go along there. Let's bring this up. Now, let's yeah, stuff that doesn't move on a boat eventually gets green stuff growing on it. I guess a toothbrush would help here, but we don't have a toothbrush that we want to sacrifice for this purpose, so we're gonna just clean it like that and maybe put a little bit more in here. This stuff is good cleaner. It does a great job of removing gook of all kinds. Some seagulls having supper. Okay, so that's good. So that took care of. So this table is what we're going to use for our shots, partly because the sun is not on here. This rope is kind of ugly, so let's just bring it down and leave it there. We'll leave that up. Let's see, what am I going to do with this rope? This is for somebody's attempt at having a speaker in the cockpit. It's a dumb idea, never worked properly. Let's hang that down there for the time being. Okay, that's nice. That's very nice. Okay, so let's clean here just a little bit, get this out of the way. And you know what I had? I just had a what do we see here? Okay, there's a bit of dirt there. Okay, so I think that's a good angle to get this table for these purposes. And I might want to put a rope hanging in the background here just as a prop. Okay, let's get rid of this. Put that in there. So let's see what the camera thinks of this angle. And okay, so something is too loose here. Let's get that lined up properly. Okay, let's get that lined up properly. Let's see what the camera sees when I turn it around. Okay, so we really want that leg to be closer to the front so it's not tipping over as much. There we are. Okay, so that looks good. Now, what does this look like seen through the eyes of the camera? Okay, so the sun's not getting on there. Let's get lower. Okay, let's go 45 degrees first. There's 45 degrees. That's not quite 45 degrees. Let's turn that around. There's 45 degrees. Okay, so that's kind of boring shot. So I don't think I'm going to use this one at 45 degrees. Let's go down to 10 degrees. There's that airplane again. let's see if we can. Okay, so now the camera sees this, so we don't really want to see that. Let's get this camera to fit on here. I'm going to go down the hatch and see. Shoot, there's a piece of paper towel lying there. Don't know if I want that to be there or not. Let's look at lower here. If I go up here, that's a better angle for this, right? Okay, that's a nice angle. Again, so we're still getting this here. We don't really want that, so let's move the camera a little bit more to the side. Okay, so that's the camera. The camera is pretty secure. A piece of paper towel lying on the floor there. Let's get rid of that. Now, let's see what the camera sees. Okay, so I really want to come lower because I want the background. All right, so let's go lower here. Let's go lower here. And let's go lower here. And now, so it's only going to be 10 degrees to the edge of the table, but we're getting some nice backgroundy kind of stuff. I like that. So this is F22. And do we want? It's getting too dark in relation to the foreground and the background, but we can deal with that. I want to see if I can find an interesting color rope to put over there. Do I have one? The red one sort of disappeared, but here's some interesting red. This red will do. Let's unravel this. And what we're going to do is make a nice loose coil of this red rope. I wish it was newer. It's a little bit old red, so the red is getting a little bit on the dark side. There's the color red that we're talking about. Okay, this coil is not loose enough. Let's go forward, make it a bit looser. Yeah, that's going to be a good angle. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to loop this over this railing. No, let's go the other way. Bring that through here. Bit hard to do the angle I'm standing at here. That's nice. Ooh, look at all the green crap growing in the back here. I gotta clean this boat. Okay, that's nice right there. That adds just a little bit of color. That adds just a little bit of color. And so we're going to do that there. And now we're going to go, that was F22. Let's go to F5.6. And we're aimed at the edge of the table. That will make the background be just a little bit. Okay, so I want to go even a little bit lower still. How about there? How about there? And a little still there. Okay, so that's, now we can go up just a bit more there. And we've still got a nice background. So if we put the plate about there, let's get a plate and see where a plate would be. If there was a plate for this. Where's my plate? Let's take the bowl. And let's take the fork. I'm not going to put anything else out except the bowl and the fork. So a bowl and a fork. What does that look like? Yeah, so we really need a dish that has a nice texture. Okay, let's take that out. Because we want real food there. There's at 5.6. And let's go to F22. And then we can choose what background we want to use. Okay, so I think that is the extent of the photography that I want to do. Let's lift this out, and then we'll get our trusty O-Henry bar and just sit and chat for a while. Let's bring that up. Bring that up. Get this tripod out of the way. What's going on here? Oh, that's all the way. $15,000 Uber Eats photos later, I've learned a thing or two about food photography. Maybe just a thing, maybe not actually two things. Oh, okay, so what are we up to here now? Airplanes overhead. Let's see, what's the chat doing for us? Hey, Carolina. Hey, Chef Piggy. Sorry I missed a few people in here. We're really not going anywhere. We're just doing some photography. And now you're seeing me sitting there talking to the computer instead of talking to human beings, but that's okay. We're just doing some photography for what I keep claiming is going to be a cookbook one of these days. And once it becomes a cookbook, then I need some shots for food. And because some things get cooked in the boat, some things get cooked at home, it's going to get cold and crummy outside. So I wanted some
some background to some background plates to do to be able to create composite shots of food that let's find Google Translate here. I apologize, Carolina, that I don't understand, so let's ask Mr. Google Translate to tell me what it is that you said. Of course, it says, I'm looking at you in the morning. Well, thank you for those kind words. The maybe I should just install the little Translate app. What is it called? Plugin. Are the plugins into Firefox so that I can see what people are saying from time to time without having to go and find Google Translate. So the the sun. So the sun's below the building now. I can still see a fair amount of brightness, but it's going to get dark relatively quickly. So we started earlier than usual. What time is it now? It's 7:08. So at this rate, I mean, there's one finger of sun, so that means 15 minutes to sunset. So that means we're having sunset at 7:15, 7:30. So summer is over. So that's interesting. So there's a guy across the dock that is a teacher, and he lives on his boat, and he's got his bicycle out, so I guess he's cycling off to school and back and forth. So there are some really interesting people here to interesting people here to tell stories of what their lives are all about. And I left my shirt, my warm shirt on in the car. So I may either run up to the car or put on my less warm shirt, which is really, it's the shirt from Fort Lauderdale that does nothing, but it adds a little bit of warmth. So let's let it keep going for a few minutes before we go looking for that. When I cleaned up for the photography for the table, I hid a bunch of stuff in the corner, and now I need to know which corner I hid that shirt in. Yeah, that sun is heading. There's a big cloud, and the sun is sort of behind the building. One thing about as summer's over, then the sun sets a little bit further to the south. Oh, there's a seagull going by, and I'm wondering whether we'll actually see a real sunset from the boat before the winter sets in. I missed the blood moon and the eclipse of the moon. I got the previous one, which was 4 months ago, and that was it was actually a nice shot. And somehow Instagram thinks I'm promoting it. I'm not. Can't afford to pay Instagram to promote a picture of a moon. And but it ended that color, that sort of reddish, purpley color was rather interesting. And the picture that I've seen of the current yesterday's or 2 days ago's blood moon were almost the same color.
The other thing that they have been telling us is that we're going to see aurora borealis here at the last couple of evenings. And the problem in the city, of course, is there's so much light from the street lights and the buildings that the sky is always lit up a little bit. And things like the aurora borealis are hiding behind that light. So I never did see that. I would like to. I'd like to take pictures of it. I guess it's more than seeing it. We got a noisy little plane overhead. And he's gone. So the so the aurora is something I'd really like to take a picture of. The boat with his lights on. I guess he forgot to turn them off after they went sailing last time, because the guy's not on the boat. The interesting weather patterns. So they tell us we're not going to have a lot of snow this year, which would be kind of interesting. So I do plan to do some work on the boat over the winter. Maybe come down and record a couple sessions, depending on where they put me, if I can get enough power to run a heater. Trekking with Deb and Mike, thank you for coming aboard. Always good to see you. So we'll see how the winter works out. It's less snow is a great thing. I'm going to go find that jacket. It's getting uncomfortably cold. I don't know why that thing keeps making noises. Let's see if I can find where I left that jacket. If I don't feel like going all the way back to the car looking for that shirt. There it is. Okay, we can put this table back together the way it was before we made it look so pretty. Yeah, I don't know why I don't have the other jacket here. I guess I wore it last week because it was so cold, and then I took it off in the car and left it there. So we'll see how this looks. Let's put on longer jeans as well. Let's put on longer jeans as well, because I'm making like it's below zero outside. It's not. But then again, pardon me. Haven't gone fishing yet. The fishing rod's lying here. Hopefully that's going to happen this year. I could throw a line off the back of the boat, but I don't know if I really want to eat what's living in the harbor here. I suppose I could catch it and cook it and not eat it, but then that seems kind of a waste of a fish. My feeling is if you catch it, you got to eat it. Otherwise, let it be. Okay, let's see if it's warm enough now that I dressed for frickin' winter. What did I miss? Well, you're at Grand Tetons. That's pretty high elevation, isn't it? If I remember any part of my geography at all. Yeah. So this, I like this shirt. It's from Fort Lauderdale. It's from the beach. It was interesting. There's two stores selling the same shirt. One guy was selling it as a white shirt for $30 with a $25 charge for the printing. And the other guy was selling it as a shirt that said Fort Lauderdale for $25. So obviously I'm not going to buy it from the guy that wanted more money. And it's an interesting fabric. It's quite thin, but it retains the warmth a little bit more than having nothing. So it's I like it. Yeah, so that sun's heading down. Last time we were here, it got so dark that all we could see was the dock lights reflecting off of the mast. Which, there was a moon too, wasn't there? Yeah, there was a white moon. That was before the blood moon, and so it ended up being a very nice picture. I looked at it on the computer later on. But after we finished the chat, it to me seemed to get super dark. And I know I was doing some cleaning here in the cockpit, and I couldn't see what I was doing. After a while, I guess when your eyes adjust to the darkness a little bit better, it wasn't bad. You still couldn't see, but you could at least not trip over stuff. And I was hoping we'd get some birds coming by, but there were no birds. Nothing came by. And nothing was coming by today. I think last time we had some ducks flopping around in the background. I haven't seen anybody. I remember I was trying to type on the computer, and it was so dark I couldn't see the keys. Last week when we did this. So soon enough, it'll be dark at 5 o'clock. Oh, I hear somebody's big diesel starting up. Yeah, so 7,000 feet. It's not super high, but it's not sea level either. I never did get that bimini cover replaced. I should do that before the canvas shops get too busy with everybody else bringing in their work for the winter to give me, because it stops the sun a little bit. And what's that running along there? A mink. There's a mink running along the dock. I guess mink are water creatures. Never seen one here. Seen them in other parks, seen them on other people's docks, other marinas, but not in this one. So he was just running along the edge there, I guess looking for whatever it is that mink eat, mice. I think they eat a fish so they could get one, but the water's way too low here. At the other end of the marina, there's it's not a beach, but it's rocky, sandy, where their boat launches. There, a creature could walk out into the water and potentially go fishing. Another airplane going overhead. And it's gone. You know, I haven't washed this boat yet this year, some years it gets so full of crud and bird crap, seagull crap, and spider crap. This year it's not too bad, but it needs to get washed. Maybe if it's nice and warm tomorrow, that's a job for that. And then if the weather's decent on the weekend, then go sailing. Get some use out of this thing. But I'm quite happy just coming down and sitting here and talking to myself and the internet to the extent that people are listening. It is quite enjoyable. I'm watching a bunch of people that are sleeping in their lives, and I'm trying to understand the attraction and why people watch. Now, I watched a few of them, but I gave up after 5 minutes. There's only so much that you want to contribute to people's watch hours, but you don't want to get involved in watching them sleep and turn over, waiting for a snore. Yeah, there's a little bit of orange from the sunset. Do we see orange in the clouds? No, not yet. So it's still, the angle of the sun coming down is still not quite low enough for that orange cast across the sky. A little bit of a wave came in. The boat's rocking a little bit. You probably can't see it in the live camera because it's not rocking hard enough to be noticeable. But I can see it when I'm watching the water here, and I can see it against the edge of the other boat. So I'm watching somebody bring their dog down to the dock. I wonder if the dog will see the mink and try to go after it. Dog is doing a crap on the grass. Gross. Sometimes you wonder what people are thinking. But what can you do? Yeah, that guy's got his masthead light on, and he's not on the boat, so as long as it doesn't kill the batteries. There's a boat chandler in the city here that he's been in a couple locations on the waterfront in the city, and they've all become developed into condos over time. So then he got onto a barge. Now the barge has always been tied up on one of the channels here. And the barge used to be a canvas shop, and so it was a big open space with big tables for canvas work. They did sails and covers like the cover I'm talking about here. And then they gave up the canvas business, and this guy, the dock shop, moved into this barge. So it was really a neat concept of floating boat store. And then so last week, he moved his barge into this marina, partly because he was in an industrial area and they're trying to do some work there to create a bit of a park, and then ultimately condos, because the industry is never coming back. We've got the same problem here as a lot of other places have. The place grew up on industry, and marine industry, and industry on the water, and that's all disappeared. So he moved his barge, and now he's here. So again, the concept of a a boat store, a store that sells boat stuff, that is itself a boat, is kind of neat. That it's like a Mobius strip, right? You're going around and round and around, or that thing where you have a mirror, two mirrors, and the picture mirrors in the other mirror until it hits the vanishing point. A boat store that sells boat parts that is itself a boat. Yeah, so those pictures that we took earlier, we'll have to see what they look like, and see if I got the angles right, so that if I took the picture of the table at 45 degrees, that the plate of food that I'm trying to feature will also have to be taken at 45 degrees. This was taken with a 17 millimeter lens, which is not really a great focal length for food photography. So I have to make sure that the food doesn't look weird on the table, and that it looks okay when it's zoomed way more in than it was in the pictures that I took inside. And maybe we'll use some of them to in the next video. Certainly in the last video, I made a mistake when I was taking pictures of the final food out of plate as it was plated. And I organized it so that interesting bits of meat. This was a chicken parmesan. Interesting pieces of chicken that were nicely browned were closest to the camera. And then some bits of the yellow zucchini were also visible through the white parmesan sauce. And so it looked really, really nice. And I took some still pictures of that. And then I took a video of it. And the angle of the video camera is across from the cook. So I turned the food in the video at an angle so that the pretty elements of the food were facing the video camera. But the problem is they're not facing the viewer when you're watching it on a computer or on a TV. So all we saw was the boring part of the Parmesan sauce. This is white, it's beige. And how exciting is beige? So I ended up using the photo that I took where the interesting textures and interesting colors are facing the camera. And it ended up looking pretty good. It's not video, so it's not moving. I played around a little bit with zooming in and out. I'm not sure that actually helped. I think it detracts a little bit more than necessary. It's live now, so we'll see what it looks like when people start watching it. I'll have a similar issue with the liver and tomatoes because everything is brown. The liver's brown, the onions are brown, the tomatoes are red. So I picked out some redder pieces of tomato to put closer to the camera to create a little bit of that attractive colored image. I haven't looked at them yet to see how well it turned out. That'll be maybe a Friday editing live or Saturday editing live, liver and tomatoes. I got a boat coming in though. I got a boat leaving that I can hear. But but nobody's coming in. Let me just see if this solar light got charged up. What do you think? Here, the solar collector has been out in the sun for days, but the light doesn't light up. So all this solar technology is weird. Never did buy the lantern that I was planning to hang off that crossbar there to light up what we're trying to do here. So we'll try to see if we can edit deliver live, and then continue on with the one pot pasta the Megan and Martha way. And it's kind of interesting that that it's all made in one pot, and visually it will just grow, because I did it once. So this will be a different kind of pasta. I think I used bow ties last time, so I'll probably use a different kind of pasta and different items, although it's going to have shrimp in it, because shrimp were on sale this week. So I bought some nice frozen shrimp, and it'll start with the noodles and water, and then we'll add some cherry tomatoes and some onions, and baby spinach, so we get some nice green color, and then some cream. No, I guess before the cream would have to be the shrimps, because the shrimps will take 3 or 4 minutes to cook. And then there's that plane again. And then after the shrimps, we'll put some cream and some Parmesan. And I think I'll put some jack cheese, some white cheese shredded in as well, to make a bit of a thicker sauce. And that'll be interesting. So the issue with photographing that, of course, again, is the sauce is white or beige, and all of the interesting elements that are in there, the onions and the shrimps and the tomatoes, sort of disappear into the sauce. So, got to check to see how I'm going to photograph that, both for stills and for video, to get some interesting colors and interesting interesting textures, and convey the message of what it is that we've cooked, so that it makes the viewer hungry enough to want to prepare it themselves. So that sun has now totally set. There's no more light on the clouds at all. And it which is interesting. Like earlier in the summer, that light on the clouds would stay lit up a lot longer before it all disappeared. And it's disappointing that those solar lights aren't doing anything. Not sure I totally understand why they're not working. I mean, I bought other solar lights, and I thought I would bring them up and hang them up on the railings, and they did absolutely nothing as well. So either I'm buying my solar lights I'm buying are too cheap, or I'm not giving them enough sunlight, or I don't know how to use solar lights. But how hard can it be? You stick the solar panel element in where the sun shines and let them cook. But that hasn't happened with a bunch of different lights. I'm hearing a diesel engine going somewhere. I like that sound. It's sort of a rough, muffled, because the exhaust is under the water, and you get enough of. Stay there. You get enough of sort of a roary, throaty roar that you know what it is, and it's a sound you only hear on the water. Same with there's a few cigarette boats that zoom around down by the beach where I am, and again that's a sound of sort of an open exhaust, because the exhausts are out of the water on those, and twin V8s. So it's that V8 sound is not that four-cylinder whine that you get, and I swear those boats are a mile out in the water, but they're so loud you can hear them go by. It's a nice sound. Now, would I want to actually sit in front of one for more than a minute? I mean, I've had rides on those boats, and there's a big thrill because of the speed and the vibration and the sort of the feel of the spray, or the smell of the spray, the sound of the spray. But I guess it's like a motorcycle. People that ride motorcycles, the sound is part of that life, and for other people it comes and it goes. It's most attractive to the people that are part of that environment. The dog people are out taking their dogs for a walk. There's some weird dogs here. I guess the dogs are the same as the people. I see. I think they're called bouviers. So these are huge. They look like something out of Star Wars, and they've got a lot of hair. They don't seem to make any noise, but oh my God! In my opinion, they're the ugliest thing since sliced bread. And there's one dog that's going to come by the main dock, is a little sort of reddish colored, yappy little thing that whereas its owner is tall and thin, this is the yappy little thing that scurries around on the dock. So I guess the dog doesn't really represent its owners, and to the same extent that you might otherwise think. Another airplane going overhead, so I guess that's the evening rush hour at the airport here. So we're approaching 2 hours of this conversation. It's getting dark, and pardon me. We'll probably pull the plug on it when we hit the 2-hour mark, because it's going to get too dark to really be able to see what we're trying to do here. I said we're not going to have enough light to be able to see what we're doing, so it's always fun to sit and chat and hear snippets of people's lives in the online, and I'll try to visit everybody that dropped by and say hello and spend some time on their content and show them some love. Ruby, thank you for coming by. Haven't seen you in can't remember how long I haven't seen you. Oh, this computer is wanting to yeah, I subscribe to you, so thank you for coming by. I'm going to give you a wrench, let you network to the extent that you want. We're not going to be online too much longer, especially given that this computer is giving me grief in that it wants me to give it some power, so let's give it some power. We're going to be up for a few more minutes anyway. Let's give it some power. Where is the power supply for this computer? Power supply, and then where is some power? Let's turn on the lights in here so we can see. Power, there we are. Let's keep this computer happy. Not sure why the battery goes so fast on these things. It said I had 3 hours, and here 2 hours later it's saying plug in the power. Does that make it happier? That made it happier. A happy computer is a good computer. So let's give it a few more minutes. Ruby just came by. We were busy today taking pictures of the table inside the boat for this cookbook project, so that I could use it as a background for compositing on various other dishes as they're made. Cheating a bit because it looks like they're on the boat, but they're not on the boat. And I wanted to get a couple different angles than the ones that I had previously. So that worked out pretty well. I started earlier because I needed the light. Last week we took pictures of the stove, and they were taken at 7 o'clock, so that's about now. Yeah, 7:45, that's when those pictures were taken. But it was getting way too dark. And they didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. I mean, the camera, yeah, it's a long shutter speed, 2-second shutter speed. But it's stretching it a little bit if you're trying to take pictures when it's getting too dark. So started earlier today and got 20 good shots. I'll look at them on the computer tomorrow and maybe use one in the next recipe to try them out. So it worked out well. the I was saying it earlier. It's getting cold. I mean, I've got a jacket on. I put on my jeans. Still don't have socks and shoes. But it's not that cold. Also, partly I don't want to admit that summer's over. When does summer end? August 21st, September 21st? Maybe September 21st. So it's got a couple of weeks to go before the summer is officially over. But not last year, but I think the year before, I remember I was out sailing in October. It was October the 10th. And it was so warm that I got a bucket of water and dumped it over my head to see what the water would be like. It was so warm. Didn't want to go and anchor and jump in, so I was as close to getting fresh water, and it was out in the middle of the lake as well. So, Jake, you're still here. Yeah, Phoenix, you're in a different part of the world. I mean, there's mountains. I think you have mountains with snow, but it's a different part of the world. You think about it once in a while, that maybe you got to escape this winter stuff. But what would we complain about if we didn't have winter to complain about? What would we complain about if we didn't have snowblowers to hassle with to get the car out of the driveway? What do we do if we didn't have winter to force the boat out of the water so you could wash the bottom and paint the bottom? So those are all, winter has some advantages. Skiing, I've skied in California, I've skied in Nevada. So there is skiing in that part of the world, but real skiing is here in the Great White North. So it's always a trade-off. It's always a trade-off. However, it is getting coldish. It is getting dark. The solar lights aren't working. So I think what I'm going to do is thank everybody for coming by, and like the stream on your in the last few seconds, and I'm going to pull the plug on this. And look at some of the photos that we got, and see what how well they worked out. And if they didn't work out perfectly, then we'll do this all over again and try to figure out what we did wrong. So, having said that, thank you for coming aboard. And we'll see you, we'll do some editing, I think Friday. Today's Wednesday, Thursday, I got that liver. Maybe Friday evening we'll edit that video, and if we don't get it for, the mosquito was trying to attack me there. If we don't get it for Friday, then it'll be Saturday. So I'm going to go up to this thing, press the button that says X, and say good night. Are you sure you